It's 12:30. This is panel 9. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the CUNY Institute 2024. I'm so excited for you all to be here. Please excuse my awkward trying to save and share my screen. Uh, the CUNY Institute 2024 has been sponsored by EBSCO, SAGE, and Oxford University Press. It's 12:30. I'm going to give everyone one more minute, 12:31, I guess. Well, that'll be in like 2 seconds. All right, so I want to make sure that both our speakers, we have, oh my goodness. So in my nervousness, I don't have the names right, but I believe I have the names right. Amy Dye-Reeves, and we have Lorena Jordan. So, but please tell Amy, what school are you from?
I am from Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama.
Okay, and Lorna, what school are you from?
I'm from George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia.
Very good. So I would like to welcome Amy and Lorna. I look forward to listening to your presentations. And so each presenter will have 20 minutes, and then that should give us at least 10 minutes or so for questions at the end. Thank you very much. And I believe, Amy, you can share now. I made you the co-host. If not, just let me know and I will see what button I need to press.
Thank
Welcome,
you all
everyone.
so much. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you, and hopefully this will work today for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share this from my PowerPoint. All right, I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. Hopefully. All right, so my name is Amy Dye-Reeves, and today that we're going to be talking about funding and how you can save money, or find money within library travel. So we'll go ahead and get started. I do work at Auburn University, and I'm the head of the Library of Architecture, Construction, and Design. All right, so a quick agenda today is that we're going to have a quick introduction. I'm going to talk about making the case, either to your boss, to your colleagues. All of that will be discussed today. Some resources, and then at the end, I know we'll have a Q&A. All right. So what is the point of the presentation today? The goal is to provide information on making that case as to why you need to travel for conferences, locating funding, and really providing the overall resource opportunities there. So when we're making the case, to our supervisors or our higher ups, some of the tips that I have is to number one is the research and being selective. So really starting by explaining why that conference is valuable, really highlighting how that reputation is really going to that conference to advance you, definitely, and the relevance of the cover topics that are held within that, especially the quality of the sessions and the speakers, and really demonstrating throughout that process, why that research, that event that you've done ahead of time that aligns with your professional development goals and the organization objectives as a whole. Tip number two is that it's a learning opportunity. So you're emphasizing the knowledge, the skills, what you expect to gain by attending that conference. You're discussing that specific workshops, the presentations, and also networking opportunities that you're interested in, and really explaining how those insights can enhance your performance in your current role and how this can contribute to any of your future projects. Tip number three, I think is really a great one, is that networking potential. So really conveying the networking opportunities that's available at conferences and why that is so important to your professional careers, and really, mentioning those critical individuals or organizations that you hope to connect with and how those connections can help really benefit you through your work or your organization as a whole. And really, tip number 4 is really that potential for collaborations or partnerships. Sometimes this can be relevant, definitely, discussing the potential for collaborations when attending these conferences, really highlighting those specific organizations, individuals, and those really valuable contributors and collaborators there, and explain how that attendance can facilitate those relationships. And really, number 5 is returning on that investment, because you're addressing the financial aspect directly. You're presenting a clear breakdown, which I'm going to discuss later in the presentation, of attending the conference. That includes, your registration fee, travel expenses, which is what we're talking a lot about today, and the accommodations, and really outlining the expected return on that investment and what kind of skills are going to be acquired by attending this conference, how these valuable connections are being made, and really, you think about it as this potential business opportunities that are going to be generated through that. Number 6, I have a couple more, but is the alternative cost analysis. So you're comparing the cost of the conference with the cost of not attending, right? So what opportunities might be missed if I can't participate? Is there potential risks or disadvantages to being current on, our industry and our library industries and development there? We're also thinking about our own personal development. We're highlighting how attending the conference aligns with our personal and professional development goals. We're looking at the knowledge and experience that would gain not only benefit our organization as a whole, but how this contributes to your own growth professionally. And also, we're going to talk a lot about professional, really those proposals for funding. We're having that, presenting a clear and concise proposal for funding. We're really including a budget that details all these expenses, the summary of the benefits outline that we talked about, and really just addressing any concerns or objections and being prepared to really discuss those. So in summary, what we're presenting today is a well-researched, compelling case highlighting the value of attending the conference. And that really increases your chance of securing funding and gaining approval to participate in that. One of the things that I see from time to time when working with proposals is creating the budget. So when you're creating a budget for yourself or even a group of you that are working together, you're really considering these different tips here. Does the work determine the cost of these specific areas that you need funding? And when you're looking at these requests, you think about the financial support and the estimation that's going to be needed ahead of time. I oftentimes will ask for a range of amounts in my own personal requests for funding, and really, anticipate that can fluctuate, especially, when we have Ubers or Lyfts, we might have an idea on how much that might be, but actually in some of these bigger cities, it's going to be more because of toll roads. So it's really important to think about that. Creating a document that detail those categories and costs that you are requesting, making a table that lists each category that you're budgeting for and specific costs per category, really including any notes there, creating a document and table that requests those fundings and taking the time and understanding that. But always consider what your budget is. You don't want to have any surprise expenses that might be happening, especially because food options at conferences, some conferences do have, some food options, some of them don't. So you have to kind of include that into your budget as well, because that will be part of that, especially when you're getting your check coming back. In the table, you want to put your name next to the costs, and you're willing to fund, maybe your own way. Maybe I only have a certain amount per year to spend on travel, but I will pay for my own food expenses. But it's really showing that you are committed and willing to invest in yourself and your organization. So here's some tips for preparing that written proposal. Remember to do the research, what the background is at that conference. Has your institution been involved with this before? Do you have some colleagues who can speak really highly at that conference and what you have to gain from that? Is the conference agenda, what is that going to look like? What sessions do you want to really to attend? Think about how the specifics can help you when you're writing that proposal and asking for travel expenses. And really being transparent throughout that whole process, including your own research if you're doing that and you got yours accepted to a conference. How is that going to help me moving forward? But also, have I applied for any scholarships and things of that nature that we're going to be talking about? Consider requesting a letter of support from maybe your mentor or maybe a PI if you worked on a grant together, someone who can help support you and say, this conference is really good for someone, for her or him, depending, because XYZ. They will benefit this in terms of our organizations. Just proofread that, be flexible with that. So one of the things I want to share is things that I've written before about getting travel. So when I'm working with my higher ups, in my case, I report directly to our Dean of Libraries. And so when I'm, talking about conference attendance, I want to be very transparent on what I'm asking for. So in the letter, just in front of you, taking a glance at that, I'm really looking and pointing out the importance of professional development, the library's continued success. By attending this conference, I have emerging trends, best practices, innovative technologies. This is going to help me, especially in my field, with library management, the information services, community engagement, just addressing all of those things are really going to be important. But this is kind of giving you a sample of that work. And so I also have bulleted points because, when we're, working with our deans and higher ups, they're going to quickly glance at these things. And you really want to have that in a digestible format. One of these things that I list is knowledge expansion, how that's going to help me be relevant to our library's operational. This can include your digital resource management if you're attending these conferences, user experience design, collection development strategies, all that plays a part into what you're working with. Networking opportunities, like we've talked about, innovative solutions, being, the innovative technologies. A lot of us are trying to get up to date with AI. So, also putting that in there because that affects a lot of our population as a whole and what they're using right now. Professional growth, how, you can make these personal connections, with each other, and how that kind of stimulates more conversations and sparks an idea that I got at a conference that I can possibly implement in my own library. And really looking at that and how this aligns with the library's mission and goals as a whole. I always just say that I like to prepare that detailed, outlining expenses of attending the conference, because again, it can get really high. And I'll say how I'm confident in my participation and how this really yields the benefit of our library. And so I have, this 3-page letter that you kind of see, but I also have the bulleted points as well. I think that's really helpful in trying to really secure that. So when we're looking for applications, one of the things that I pulled a bunch of resources for you to look at and share with them afterwards. I kind of broke this down into international and national travel. Again, that's going to depend on how your budget is or how you're working with your higher ups at your different libraries. Some of the ones that I have found to be helpful is the American Library Association International Travel Award that really does help with the attending a international conference for the very first time. And so you can see that they have some resources on here. There's, programs that facilitate exchanges between librarians in Switzerland and the United States, which is a really cool opportunity there if you're working on, say, some type of project and funding. I think all of these would do really well in terms of what you're looking for travel funding. So you see some more here with the British Council, ones of the Council for International Exchange for Scholars, Information International. Those are all good ones to use. You have the International Federation of Library Associations, and then you have the Twinning Initiative. You have a lot of these really good resources that are going to help you, especially for international travel. Just a few more here. You have more international library programs, fellowships. If you're looking for fellowships, some people are, so I included that just in case. International research and exchange boards. And you can see that we kind of end with that with you have some more exchange opportunities. And so I feel like a lot of these might help your particular situation if that's what you're looking for. I've just a couple more. International Associates Program at Yale University. They have a really good program there, and then another fellowship program. People are looking for fellowships. I just want to include that just in case, in addition to travel. All right, so in the United States, if we're staying in the United States, the Association of College and Research Libraries, ACRL, does have conference scholarships for their conference. I believe that's kind of coming up in 2025. I believe it's going to be in Minnesota. So I think a lot of them are starting to get released now. So you'll be able to find out more. There's the Value of Academic Libraries travel scholarships. They do offer scholarships there. I also really listed if anyone is doing research with research grants or looking for travel, particular for their own research, that has to be geared towards presidential libraries. I know some people do work in that area, but this is going to be a really good list for you as well, because a lot of people are looking for archives, travel opportunities, travel grants. So, we can look at United States, international, just doing your own research on a particular subject. So I really wanted to include all of that different opportunities, because I do believe that's valid, especially when we're looking for resources. So when we're making the case, I would like to point to a couple of different resources that I used, and really one of them has to do with, do people who travel more perform better at work? And so this particular article really helped me, and it really walked me through what the process looks like from someone who is a higher up at a university. I thought this International Journal of Tourism Research really did a good job at that. But also, how when we're traveling, it can be a little bit stressful, right, at times, but it can also be health and well-being, taking a step back from our jobs every single day. And we're also going to a different location, meeting different people who are outside of our organization, and how that can improve our health and well-being overall, because we do get a step back. We do get to learn from other people and why that is so important there. And so I think that's something that we want to look at. I know we have, about roughly five minutes or so, but I always just wanted to wiggle in some time for Q&A, but I think that's going to be at the end. So I want to thank you all for listening to my presentation today, and thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you, Amy. That was excellent. I can definitely say that travel made librarianship better for me. Lorena, are you ready?
Sorry, did you were talking to me, Nanette? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to know if you were ready.
Yes, let me just get myself on here. Give me one moment, if you don't mind.
No problem. So welcome to LACUNY Institute 2024. We've been sponsored by SAGE, the Oxford International, oh my goodness, Oxford Press, excuse me, and EBSCO. And Lorna will be beginning in a minute or two.
And share my screen, correct? Can everyone see it? I'm going to put it in presentation mode.
Yes, it looks good.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure everybody can see and see fine. Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm working from home today. I'm Lorena Jordan. I am the Policy and Government Librarian for George Mason University. I wanted to talk to you today about reviving post-pandemic in-person student engagement across multiple campuses. I did go ahead and include a little bit about virtual ones I'm doing as well, just to give the full picture, but I do want to talk also about physical ones. So just a quick agenda about today's overview, talking about the students and campuses I serve, establishing outreach initiatives, current ones, again, in person, as well as some virtual ones, because we're also thinking about making those in person as the future develops, and just finishing with some ideas about becoming a better librarian through outreach with discovering issues such as imposter syndrome, self-discovery thoughts that help you find out who you are as an authentic librarian engaging with students. So a quick little outreach efforts background. So who I serve is I'm the policy and government librarian. So I liaison to the Schar School of Policy and Government. Those programs include public policy, public administration, political science, international relations, security. There's also 2 unique programs, organizational development, knowledge management, as well as biodefense. So before I became this position in February 2023, there were 2 interim positions in between the last librarian and myself. And this is also my first ever librarian posting. So the students I serve are approximately 1,500. The largest programs right now are international security as well as public policy. We're located in the Washington, D.C. metro area proper. I am based at the campus in Arlington, Virginia, where the Shar School's main office is, as well as Fairfax, Virginia, and the Acquia office on Mason campus. So it is across 2 campuses. The Mason Square campus is more the graduate, doctoral, certificate program granting programs. It is also a more commuter presence as well. Classes start at 4 o'clock and at 10 o'clock. So very much people who have a full-time job or just any other full-time activities coming for evening classes. The Fairfax campus is your undergraduate students primarily, and that does have more of that traditional undergraduate feel. Some students live on campuses. There's also unique research communities to Shar schools, such as international policy, women and gender studies, and more. So some ways that I established outreach initiatives from my end was looking at challenges and trying to find solutions. So the first challenge was a lack of dedicated librarian presence. I solved this by establishing consistent faculty and student contact and really focusing on faculty contact. Research that I have read has shown that if you reach out to faculty, that's an excellent segue to student and other resources as well. So I was granted access to email listservs within the Shar School, which has been very beneficial. I've also been able to attend faculty meetings, and I've also been able to meet virtually and in person the dean of the Shar School and program heads to have intimate conversations about what their programs need and going forward from there, how we can support them. Another challenge that I've been working with, as you can hear, is there are 2 campuses to this program. So I've establishing connection at both locations. I am going to I write within both the graduate and undergraduate student newsletters. I also attend in-person meetings with all the research organizations and the main campus in Fairfax. I also have students reach out to me by email and contact, and that includes also organizational representatives for students. So getting the word out in person. I also go to the Fairfax campus very frequently, so I am definitely traveling back and forth. And the third challenge, I think we all can understand this, is current library constraints. So budget, resources, and assistance needed for outreach. I'm partnering with colleagues as well as other departments to make outreach happen. Most prominently, University Life has been very helpful for Night at the Library. And we're also starting with creating events that are primarily free or very low cost to us at this time. So some current ones that are running right now at George Mason. Night at the Library at Mason Square campus. We're doing this now. We've had 4 versions of this, 2 each semester. They are approximately 6 to 7 p.m. Students now have the opportunity to sign in with a half-page entry form, which serves as a meal ticket for food, which in our case is pizza. Students can come and go as they want to within the hour. They can ask library questions, very simple ones, such as, we have a library on campus. Where is it? To actually receiving a short 5 to 10 minute consultation. I've done some as far as presidential decisions, as well as policy for finding government resources in the databases. So it's that very much tier 1 level consultation. We also can arrange future in-depth ones as needed. And this was a partnership in University Life for the budget allocation to this. They've been graciously providing us the pizza, the drinks, snacks, and so forth like that. And the pictures that you're seeing are me and my colleague, Chris McGee, the librarians at Mason Square, answering student questions, students signing in, students talking with me. Results of this, so far we have seen is we also have very interesting questions to follow up, which creates wonderful engagement opportunities. The 2 most enjoyable ones to me are what's the oldest book in the library, and also what's the most important but not used as much resource. And I always tell them newspaper access, because so many students need Wall Street Journal, for example, and don't know the library offers that to them for free. We've paid for the licensing. We've also are going to be taking new directions. We want to experiment in the fall with different times, different locations. We also want to make it a little more academic by having an official 10-minute or so presentation on library services such as Zotero, using LibGuides, and more. And you can see here the results that we put on our infographic. We've done since 2024, 27 questions, in-depth consultations, and a little fun note, we've served approximately 270 slices of pizza and counting. The other thing that we're doing right now is Library of Congress tours. This has been really popular. I list a tour date and it goes, all the slots fill up within 2 hours. And it's been twice a semester this past semester. Students are learning how to use Library of Congress resources in depth from a librarian at the Library of Congress. And there's also a very in-depth tour of the library after itself. The biggest thing is that the librarian lets them see the mechanics and the reasoning behind why they search as they do with Library of Congress headings, which is very beneficial. And they also tailor it to our students by saying, and using examples of, say, the political science subject headings, government headings, and more. So it's very relevant to their field. And some results from this so far is, of course, we have access to this world-renowned institution. Student appreciation has been very much for this. We've had 21 attendees over 2 events. We have 30 slots available. The second event actually happened the day of the State of the Union, so some students could not attend. It was a different scheduling. We also are going to have more tours be interactive in the future. We want to sort of get an exemption to bring computers behind the scenes to that level of research area so they can actually practice more of the searching as opposed to it being a listening session and asking questions only and having a longer tour period. And what's really been beneficial about this, of course, not everybody lives in the DC area, but librarians are looking for ways to implement this for their own areas and their own research. For example, I've had someone reach out to me with a criminology program who's thinking about using court systems here in DC, but also if you have one in your area, showing students to go in person and how to utilize that primary source, which they'll have to do in the future. The final physical thing right now is physical office hours at Fairfax campus. The way my program is structured is I'm based in Arlington, Virginia, and I go there 4 days a week. And I go once a week to Fairfax minimum. So the office hours have been very influential to use the time that I'm there wisely to have students and faculty both, again, utilizing faculty, come and know that the library is there and it's a physical person they can ask questions and interact with. It's available, obviously, to both students and faculty. It's usually 10 minutes or less consultations. So far, we've had 10 consults, 7 students, 3 faculty. And again, with the budget constraints, the Schar School provides light snacks, tea, coffee. So it's working with that partnership to have something that's very useful to sort of get them in the door, supplied by the Schar School. I did want to just do a little brief overview with some virtual options because, again, we're looking to take these into in-person in the fall semester upon further development. So what I did this semester was a workshop series I called Policy into Practice to make it short, sweet, interesting topic. And it's a virtual workshop series this time. I want to make it physical in the fall in person, or at least a hybrid option. And it was 1 to 3 p.m., 2 sessions. Each one was an hour allocation each. So part 1 was the library and you, overall library services, and showing how to use things for policy and government. So how to locate policy and government databases, policy and government journals, and even going over an in-depth reading of what students are seeing when they open up a record of a book or even an ebook to understand the mechanics behind what they're seeing. And part 2 was very popular. I called it News You Can Use. It was a breakdown of currently available news resources and how to access them, and again, applicable to the Schar School. If you were to go onto my guides, you can see that we have started where we're going to be having news sources broken down to our indirect and direct subscription access. This was very helpful to have students know, to understand that you can do New York Times and Wall Street Journal, but also the mechanics behind it. Sometimes you can get an actual account, sometimes it's just a login, sometimes it's database access. For this day, I had 17 total attendance. I had 4 from Schar, and I also had 3 from economics because I was serving as economics interim. 3 survey results were received. All were invited to participate and they were positive. We also had utilizing student feedback and interest, future topic ideas such as AI usage in the library. That's very popular right now, but also deep breakdown, of how we can do library sources applicable to programs. So for example, a workshop on maybe international security materials or biodefense materials and so forth. I also offer virtual office hours. So this is how the physical office hours came about, because Fairfax, again, faculty reaching out to me saying, we like the virtual hours. Can you do something in person? But I do this every week from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursdays. I've had 28 official appointments since September 2023. All are welcome. Some topics discussed have been Ecuador's open door policy, urban heat islands, and program evaluations, which is an essential class assignment taught at the SHAR school. Usually I try to ask students to come in office hours if they have a question for a consult, if it's not a pressing consult, because that way we have time to work together, and also gives me time to prepare discussion and ideas for what they're looking to do going forward, instead of a last minute stuttering through trying to figure out how to serve them. I also send faculty and student listserv reminders of this about once a month or so, just a gentle reminder saying office hours are available, maybe a little bit more during midterm and finals to get that word out so they know to have access to me if needed. So I wanted to talk about some aspects I found important to this that have made me a better person through doing outreach and reaching out and learning what my community needs. One of the big things that we talk about in library science, especially as new librarians, is imposter syndrome, which really is doubting the validity of your accomplishment or thinking of their external forces, and just feeling like a fraud and being made to feel like a mistake. There's a couple of studies that present this information. Clark and al. Interviewed 350 younger and newer, 350, librarians to see how they felt about their job and technical skills, and reported that the newer and younger librarians had a higher level of imposter syndrome feeling as compared to their older, more experienced counterparts. Also in 2019, Martinez and Foray talked to 172 early librarians who, an 85% total, felt that they felt insecure, underqualified, or in danger of being exposed for not being able to do their job as they should be. So I talk about the main aspects of this that I have seen research discussed through my own experiences. The first is lack of clarity, role, and priorities. If you look at my position description, I am meant to do instruction, reference, government documents coordinating as well, outreach, service, scholarship, and as we all love, other duties as assigned. That can be a lot. It's juggling a lot of priorities, due dates, and expectations. And so if you miss something or you feel you're not doing it well enough with outreach, it can help contribute to your imposter syndrome. Also, a lack of training and official guidance. This is my first ever librarian posting, and it's also a faculty posting. Not being as experienced as those who have been in Mason before, it's very easy to feel like you're not doing a good job. Also, having a supervisor not really observing what's going on has been something that I'm trying to work on rectifying in the future, to see where I can learn from those more experienced. And just like even today, how can I contribute to scholarly conversation? What do I know that's actually useful? Do I have it? And how can I show it? So solutions that I have reached out to are pretty similar to what research is stating, which is create opportunities for feedback and utilize it. I try very hard for every event, instructional session, anything, to have feedback forms and receive them, and also even go back and review them, because most of them have been positive. And it's been wonderful to see and helping myself to learn that, yes, I am doing a great job. Also find those similar to my position or levels to share, receive support. I'm a part of PIPPERS, Politics, Policy, and International Relations version of ACRL. And I've been reaching out to peers in that level, as well as those who have been in my university longer, to just talk and review options and see where I truly stand, as opposed to what I may be visualizing. And finally, just opportunities for reflection and discussing and learning about yourself. And Doing outreach initiatives can help lead to exploring what your position and even you personally need. Again, talking about time commitments, you need a partnership with a department or colleagues and expectations. Learning a program and student feedback during events. For example, learning from doing virtual office hours, we want physical office hours. That's great to know. Also, the feedback can help in developing future skills, such as night at the library. We are now getting requests to do a mini instruction session during the event. Also, Library Congress tours, they want more expectation about what the tour is going to be and future meetups to discuss and be around each other and share thoughts. And honestly, just honest reflection allows for honest reflection to other duties outside of outreach. So for example, government document coordinator, I worked on planning the Virginia Documents Forum because I was working on outreach and had an idea of what to expect time-wise for catering, for needs of others that was built into organizing that meeting. Reference consults, learning how to do an email and in person, and learning to accept strength in areas of improvement. So instruction, programs, librarianship, and just collaboration and scholarship. So these are the references that I have. I'm happy to share those as well. And I will take any questions if we have any at this point, or I'll just give it back to our moderator.
It's 1:10. We're finished early. Both presentations were wonderful. Thank you both for participating. Thank you all for coming. Happy Friday. I'll let everyone go early. Thank you so much and have a good day.